Hey guys, Benji here with the question of the week. Question of the week here is: what's a decision you made in your life that completely changed your path, and what might life have looked like if you had chosen differently? So, what's a decision you made that completely changed your path? Um, I would say it is the decision to start or go for lastminute golfer.com. So at the time, I was probably 26 years old and just working for the 3M distributor, RS Hughes, which was what was that? That was second job out of college? First? Probably second. Probably worked insurance first and then second job. So I was just really wasn't going anywhere in my career. Was kind of hoping at some point the sales guys at that job would retire and move on, and maybe I could move into sales. But I probably, because of going for lastminute golfer.com, I probably fast tracked my life. I probably would have stayed at RSUs for, longer, right? I don't know how much longer. Could have been 5 years, could have been 15 or 20 years. It just depends. Um, so I think that was the decision you made that completely changed your path. Yeah. So I think Last Minute Golfer changed my path just because, for one, it let me see how owning your own business was attainable. For two, it showed me that you could raise money if you really want to. Um, so really, that would probably be my first sales job. My first sales job ever, I would say, was selling cell phones, but really, in essence, it wasn't. It was selling. Um, it was selling those guys on selling my dad and some of his friends on giving us. Sorry about that. On giving us, $10,000, $20,000, $5,000 each, and making that happen. And then what that did is it moved me into a different income level. And then it also, the people you meet through that, through having more money and, joining a private golf club and being around other business owners and mentor programs that I met and met other people. I mean, it just kind of takes on a different life of its own. Your life does if you have that. So, of course, Kansas City Hardscapes has gone great. I think that would have been hard to do, not already having started a business and run one and it been successful, all the way through to selling it. So I think it probably opened everything, right? It opens doors to other people, that can affect your life and that can you just meet people that are maybe more successful and you hang around more successful people. Um, it also gives you faith in yourself to know that, right? I say this a lot to people that I know that are younger, is that typically the people that you think are successful and that are sharp, they aren't that sharp. Like if somebody's rich and they've done well and it looks good, I would say there's still a 20% chance that that person is smart. And that person is a really with it person that you should listen to their advice. I just don't think the more smart people, no, the more rich people I meet, the more I go, they're not that smart. Now, there's always caveats to this, right? Almost every doctor that I meet as you get older and, there's lots of doctors at the country club. They're all smart, right? Like there's not one that you go, man, that guy is an idiot. You're like, no, no, they're smart. They're not smart just about medical things. They keep up on current events and thought ideas and politics and religion. I mean, you can just have conversations, and those people are smart. You do that with business owners or rich guys, sales guys, um, people that, yeah, that you think, oh man, they're really rich, and then you find out their story, and they're like, they were on their dad's coattails, or their grandfather started this business, or whatever it was. there's nothing that that they this sounds really mean. There's nothing that they brought to the table. They're in a good spot. They were born into the right family. They had a dad that made some good decisions, or a grandfather. But hold on a second. But it wasn't that anything that they did was smart or good. They were in the right spot, right time. And a lot of times that is what it is. I think last minute golfer is that, right? Had a good idea, it was great, but it was right time, right spot, right, everything worked out good. There was a lot of luck that comes from that being a success. There's a lot of hard work. There was a lot of right plays. It was right about having a good idea, but and I think most people would say that. Most people would say, that it all comes down to their hard work, but I would attribute as much of it to luck, and yeah, there's a lot of luck involved. Um, but I think a lot of people just aren't that bright. I don't know how I got off on this tangent about that, but I think if you meet people in your life and you find someone you're like, man, that guy is really smart, you should keep that relationship going, because finding those types of people is hard to do. It's easy to find rich guys. And a lot of the times you don't even know if they're really rich, right? Good friend of mine, Bruce, who is really rich and who is really smart. Um, he belongs to one of the top country clubs in the city, Wolf Creek, and it's kind of masters of the universe that belong there. He says all the time, he's like, there's probably five of us that could go get $50,000 tomorrow. He's like, the rest of them, he's like, I mean, they've all got, $4,000 in their checking account, but they've got a lake house and five cars and a boat and, a place in Aspen. They've got a timeshare somewhere, but he's like, man, they are five paychecks away from like really being screwed. He's like, so even at a place like that you think, oh, these guys are all rich. They're not. There's a handful of guys that are rich. Um, and I think that is a really good lesson, right? I feel like this is taking a different curve than the question, but I'm gonna go with it a second. I feel like that's a really smart thing, and it makes me. After Bruce said that, I was like, ooh, I'm one of those guys, right? I don't have access to $50,000 or $5,000, and he told me that a long time ago. I would say, I don't know how long ago, 10 years ago maybe, and so it made me change, how I act and how I treat my money, which is, yes, you need to be putting away for retirement. And yes, you need to have fun, right? You need to have the car that you like. You don't need to. Get the car you like. Have a house that you enjoy. But also have liquid money, right? Now, if I needed $50,000 today, yeah, I could move it over into my bank account in a heartbeat. It's not in something I have to wait till I'm 59 and a half to get to. It's not out, just that it makes you sleep better. It makes you, I don't know, makes you feel good, right? I mean, there's a few friends of mine too that they are big in cash, like in a safe. Well, I'm that same way now. No, now some of those guys might have, 40 grand or $80,000 in their gun safe at their house. I'm not that guy. I think that seems silly. I'd rather have it in the market. But yeah, do I try to always have $5,000 or $10,000 cash? Yeah, yeah, sure. That needs to be. Um, it might not be at my house. It might not be where a person might think it would be, but it's somewhere that I know where it is, and um, and you can get to it in an hour, right? So it's nice to know that if you need, $10,000 in an hour, you can get that. And if I needed 40, $50,000, you could get to that in a day. Um, and it's gettable, and it's not like, oh geez, I'm crushed if this goes away. If my friend needs it for whatever, or my brother needs something, yeah, it would be nice, right? At that time, I remember thinking, man, if I ever get in trouble, Bruce is a person that I could call and say, hey, I don't need your judgment, but I really need your help. I need $23,000 like in 2 days. Can you help me out? And I think he would go, where do you want to meet? Right. And that's what I want. I want my brothers or my close friends to go, hey, I really need $15,000. Who can I call? Hopefully they would go, Benji's probably got it. Ask Benji. He'll do it, and that you could do it and do. Not that I want that to happen. I hope that never happens. I hope none of my friends are like, I need $15,000 to pay off some gambling debt, or Lord knows what it could be. But I also think that is an important thing, is to really think of yourself as financially secure, as to go, I can get my hands on $5,000 cash in an hour. Like, it's not that hard. Typically in my checking account, this sounds really bragging, there's somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000 in there. So you can just go to the bank and just take it out. But I mean, of like liquid cash, like cash, like dollar bills. Yeah, there's always $10,000 of that around. And then you have your retirement accounts, and then you have your home equity, and then you have all these other, IRAs and 401ks and everything. You still have all that in your retirement accounts, but you also need to have that. Again, I don't know how I got off on this tangent. Let me go back to the question. What decision in your life? Okay, so that's where it came from. So I think that put me on a different trajectory, is that now this is a perfect, I'm going to go back to the Bruce thing, is that had I been a sales rep and been a nobody and been just a regular dude working for companies, I'd have probably been a good sales guy. I was a good sales guy in most of my jobs, but I'd be a guy that makes 130 grand or 140 grand and been successful and had a nice house and a Mercedes or a BMW, and everything had been great. It's different when you're a business owner and you meet other business owners, and there were times with Last Minute Golfer where, I don't know, I was probably making 300 grand, and that was in 2010, no, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. It puts you in a different level, and you meet other people, and I probably wouldn't have met Bruce, had it not been for business ownership and having those questions, and, you have some similarities with people that own other businesses. So it just puts you on the decision that changed your life and changed your path. It puts you on a different path, right? So you're on this one path, and the sun's really bright there. And it's a great path. It's good. It's steady and it's easy. But this other one, if you decide to go this other way that is a little riskier, there's this hockey stick curve of either income or influence or connections that you get that you can't get from being a sales rep for a company selling widgets, or selling a service. It's just hard to get there. It's a backstage pass. It's a VIP ticket, right, to smarter people, more successful people, that kind of stuff. And so that's how I'm answering this question, is kind of on a financial aspect. I think that's what it's asking. It also says in the second part, what might life have looked like if you had chosen differently? I think that's all it is. I think I'd still be in a similar spot. It would just be a little bit less. Everything would be a little bit less. Now, would life be a little bit easier? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I just had a sales job and I just had my regular things and I just had this, but I don't know. I think when people say money can't buy you happiness, I think that's stupid, because I do think it does, because there's a difference between going to, back when I had those jobs, going to visit my parents in Pensacola for a vacation versus going to Italy for a month. Going down to the Lake of the Ozarks and renting a boat for 2 days versus owning a boat and two wave runners, and everybody goes down and has a good time. Going to the Mizzou games, we went last night to the Mizzou game, and you're in a suite area that has nice amenities, and for one, it's got nice chairs that are leather chairs that have backs to them and armrests, and man, it's just a lot better experience. I'm not saying if I had regular season tickets like everybody else, it'd be so much worse. It's just it's just the next level up, right? And I'm not saying I'm at the highest level. Bruce and those guys that I know there at Wolf, those guys are way next level up. I mean, I think it's a big time when I fly first class. Those guys take private jets everywhere. It, it's just a different level. So I think my life would have been fine. It would have been good. And who knows what would have happened, right? You never know. But I also know that this kind of just fast tracked getting there. It's probably why we're able to retire at 51, 52 years old versus I probably would have been good and I probably would have retired at 60, which is still great. That's still a great life. I think this is it just fast tracked it. So that decision in your life that completely changed your path, that's what I think Last Minute Golfer did that. It gave me some cash. It gave me the ability to know that I could do it. It let me know that a lot of my intuitions and business acumen might be decent, and would make the right decisions. And that I think Kansas City Hardscapes probably reassured me of that, to go, yeah, we can run a business better than 98% of people in our industry. And that makes you feel good. And to know that you've done it twice, right? It's like the guy that, they win one golf major, and I mean, that's awesome. But when you win your second one, you're like, okay, now I just verified it. Like, I'm legit. I'm a real golfer. I'm not a major champion. I'm a multiple major champion. That's a big difference than a guy that had a good 4-day stretch as a guy that could actually win twice. So it just changes your path. I don't think it changes your life a ton. Now it could. It didn't in my case. You could start a business like Last Minute Golfer and it sells for $28 million, and it just completely changes your life. Now you are into private jet money and vacationing in the Maldives for 6 months at a time, and yet that's a total game changer. I think my life is doubled, right, because of taking a risk one time and it working out, right? I got lucky. Like, what are the odds? Like, seriously, the percentage chance of a person starting a business, it working out, going good, being profitable, and selling 7 or 8 years later. Man, it's under 5%. I'll tell you that. I mean, just the chances, what is it, of a business making it 3 years or 5 years is 50% fail rate. So, I mean, just the fact to have Last Minute Golfer go through the whole process, sell to Comcast, and it be a success, that's huge. And then to have Kansas City Hardscapes and it be a 10-year business at this point and be a success and be going good, those are good numbers. Those are fun to think about. But it changes your life. But this would be my lesson from this whole thing, is I think it's worth the risk. I think, man, when you're in a good spot and you have a decent idea and you have the ability to try it, I think you should go for it, right? I mean, it matters. It's stressful. It's hard. At the beginning of Kansas City Hardscapes, it was hard. Last Minute Golfer was never hard. Last Minute Golfer was easy. The first 6 months of Last Minute Golfer were hard. We're selling people an idea that didn't exist. Like, hey, we're going to book tee times online. People are like, what's online? What do you mean? I'm like, oh, like an airplane. They're like, yeah, I don't book my airplane tickets online. That seems stupid. And you're like, oh, great. This is what we're up against. But after that initial surge and we started booking and golf courses are getting $10,000 checks, it's easy because they start talking and they're like calling us like, hey, can we get on there? I've heard it's going good for Bill and Doug down the street at their golf course. But with hardscapes, it's a better, this is a more general industry, and it's nice to know that you're able to, do it better than most people do it, and have a business that's more successful. But it is, for the first 3 or 4 years, it was hard. It's lean. You got to buy a lot of stuff. I wouldn't recommend going to the hardscapes. If you haven't watched that video, don't go into any business that to have one crew, you got to have a truck, a trailer, a skid steer, maybe an excavator, and a concrete buggy. Don't ever have a crew that needs 150 to $175,000 per crew in equipment. Woo, man, I wouldn't recommend it. I would go into bathrooms and downstairs and basement remodels that need drills and saws, and each crew needs, $5,000 worth of tools. Gosh, that would be awesome. But so that I think I keep looking over at the question because it's a good question. What decision you made in your life completely changed your path? It was to start Last Minute Golfer. It was to try Last Minute Golfer. That it worked out is what changed the path. So that's the part that made the difference, is that it worked. If it didn't, and there were competitors of ours, and they tried it and it failed. Timetotee-off.com or something. They opened in Kansas City and it just failed miserably. So the fact that it worked is what made it change the path, just trying it. But that decision, which led to the success, is what changed my life. And yeah, it's made things good for most of my life, and made me not, from 2002, after Last Minute Golfer sold, I took a couple jobs for short stints, but shortly after that, we started Kansas City Hardscapes. So I was kind of like, wow, working for somebody else is stupid. I mean, you just don't make any money, and you don't get to do what you want to do. You got somebody else going, hey, I need you here for this sales meeting, or I need you in the office all day from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Even if you're done at 4:15, you just have to sit in an office for 45 minutes. Oh my God. No, I'm not doing that anymore. So, but it allowed me to be able to make those decisions, to be able to go, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. So from 2002 till today, 2025, I've mostly worked for myself. Not mostly. I've worked for myself. And even when I worked for somebody else, man, it was, yeah. I mostly still made my own hours and told my bosses, like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's dumb. It's stupid. So anyway, that's my thing, is Last Minute Golfer kind of changed my life and just put me on a different financial trajectory, career trajectory, and meeting people and opening doors kind of trajectory. So that's what it is. So, all right. See you guys.